It gives me a great honor and a privilege to introduce Lowell Gallen. We are here at Beit Yehudit in Jerusalem, and we're at the exhibition of Hours of Autism. Lowell, and this is your third exhibition.
Yes.
Okay, Lowell, take it away.
Les, thanks for inviting me to be a guest on your show. I would like to say to your viewers and listeners that Les and I have worked together for many years in the Root and Branch Association English Language. 24. Since January 1995, our English Language Conference and Lecture Series held at the OU Israel Center, 22 Karen Hayesod Street, Jerusalem. Les is the program chair, I'm the MC, and we've worked happily together for many years. This is the first time I got invited to be guest on Les's show. Wow. So Les knew I was having this exhibition, and he said, why don't I come to your exhibition and we'll talk about art? So here we are. Okay,
wonderful.
Les told me just to tell you, what is it? First of all, where are we? We are at the Old International Cultural Center for Youth, 12 Emek Rephaim Street in the Jerusalem's German colony. This center is a beautiful building. If it was either designed by Frank Lloyd Wright or one of his students, as the cubes on top of each other, huge amounts of light, big windows. It's a Israel and Jerusalem landmark, the building. I don't know if it's been formally landmarked. And since 1960, they arranged for students from all over the world to come here and for Israeli students to go there. It's now the Beit Yehudit. I don't know who Yehudit is. It's named in memory or in honor of somebody. Community and Cultural Center of the German colony, the Greek colony, and I think a number of other communities. It serves thousands of people and has wonderful activities from morning to evening. And on Shabbat, the big hall is turned into a Beit Knesset for one of the Kilot. So how did I get here? This room we're in, the hall, is where exhibitions are held. Beit Yehudit is one of the few places in Israel where an artist doesn't have to pay to have an exhibition. In the real world of real art, that's how it should be done. How did I get here? How did I even start drawing again? I will tell you the story. A few years ago, I used to draw as a child and through high school and college. Then I stopped for like 40 years. But I'm a collector, like Les collects coin and stamps. He's Israel's stamp commissioner. He likes stamps. I collect everything, and I had collections of my very early artwork. So my wife's girlfriend, Aura Lampard, hi Aura, saw and said, you did this, why don't you draw again? Like most of us, we need to get good suggestions from others to do things we should do. As the Talmud says, a prisoner can't let himself out of jail. Yeah. It's really true. So she said, my wife had said, of course, all along, but you know, when someone outside the family tells you, then of course you listen. A few years ago, a friend of my wife's, Yam Greenstein, hi Yam, saw some of the drawings and said, these are really good. Why don't you talk to my friend Ben Simon? He's an artist. He's also curator of the exhibitions in the gallery at Beit Yehudit Community and Cultural Center. So I had never had an exhibition before of my drawings. I never even thought of asking for one. It never even entered my mind. So I didn't even ask. I just said, hello, Ben. Your friend, Yam, said I should send you some of my drawings. I did. Now, Ben's a native New Yorker like me. I'm from the other side of New York, upstate White Plains. He's from the other side, Long Island. And Ben is actually a formally trained artist, went to art school in New York, came on Aliyah, a Zionist artist. He now lives here, married an Israeli girl, and they have 2 children, I think. So Ben said, I really like your drawings. I want to give you an exhibition. This was a big deal for me. The first was July, August 2014. The second was October, December 2017. And the third is now February to March 2019. And this March, which is now, we will be adding paintings by my wife and our younger daughter, which I'm very excited about. So here it says, Eyes of Autism, the third Eyes of Autism exhibition of drawings by Lowell Joseph Gallen. My English name is Lowell Joseph Gallen. My Hebrew name is Aryeh Yosef Gallen. And if you want to know, my name in Arabic is Asad Yosef ibn Anwar, which is the same of Aryeh Yosef ben Meir. Wait a excuse me. Okay, so why this? This was not my idea. First of all, after 3 exhibitions, I got used to it. That doesn't mean I don't like it, but you know, if you grow up in Jerusalem, you see the sights the tourists see every day. When you go to the Kotel, it's not like you're seeing God coming down in Mount Sinai. If you can do that, that's good. But for Les and I, old-time Jerusalemites, after a while, it's daily life. Why did I call it that? It wasn't my idea. Why? Ben Simon, the curator, asked me to. Why? As a public service. What's the public service? 4 years ago, in June 2015, I received, after an 8-month process, a formal diagnosis of high-functioning autism / Asperger's from the Keshet Institute at Tel HaShomer Hospital in Ramat Gan, Israel. And I was age 59. Usually would get that much earlier. So that changed my life. What does that mean? In my case, they don't use the term Asperger's anymore. The American Psychiatric Society decided just to merge it with high-function autism. Dr. Temple Grandin, Professor Tony Atwood, Dr. Simon Baron-Cohen, respectively in Australia, United States, and England, think that's a mistake. I agree with them. But let's not play with words. What does that mean before, practically? It means, in my case, people like me, a slightly larger brain, physically, than everybody else, and a higher IQ. Is that good? Well, that depends where you are and who's around you, but it can be good. So why did Ben say, call it an Eyes of Autism exhibition? Because that way it should be, you know, Horatio Alger, inspiring to other people. Do you have a problem? Do you have an issue? Everybody has problems and issues. We all do since the expulsion from Gan Eden. Look, you're never too, as I would say, not you're never too old and it's never too late. Because I'm going to be 63 years old, going on 17, on April 29th. And my Hebrew birthday is Lag Bomer. Oh, but you're never too young, and it's never too early. Grandma Moses didn't start painting till her 70s or 80s. She was a farmer's wife in Vermont and New Hampshire. And Colonel Saunders of Kentucky Fried Chicken didn't cook his first chicken for sale until he was 65. He really was a colonel. He got his friend the governor to get the Kentucky State Legislature to make him an honorary colonel in the state militia, and he put on the hat, and he played up the Rhett Butler, mint julep, antebellum South routine to the hilt. He was good at it. So my message to all you out there is, whatever your age, it's never too late, too early, you're never too old, too young, whatever it is today you want to do something new, you put off, paid, volunteer, doesn't matter. Give it the old college try. That's why we called it this, to inspire people, because usually people maybe are ashamed, whatever the problem or the issue is, I don't want to talk about it. That's another issue. Silence isn't peace, sheket is not shalom. And the energy that goes into pretty picture making, which we all do, and we want things to look nice, would be better spent doing something productive. Also, in terms of that, if you don't feel like talking about something, you don't have to. There are many people, Les does a lot of interviews and features on people from the Shoah. For some survivors, each is different. This one says, I can't talk about it. This one says, I have to talk about it. You can't throw a kid into a pool and say swim. They have to be ready.
Yeah, it's so true.
So here we go.
So this is your you're showcasing your art on the Eyes of Autism.
The point that he wanted to make was, here's an artist who's been formally formally diagnosed as being on the autistic spectrum. And what do those eyes show?
Wow, so this is wonderful. Okay.
So, show and tell, boys and girls. Mr. Rogers here, God bless him, he was great. What do I use? I use it was called a technical pen, which you fill up with ink, like the good old-fashioned inkwells. Here's the ink. This is Faber-Castell. I prefer Rapidograph, but that's what I got. No disrespect intended. That's what I use. It's all pen and ink.
So can we go through this? But Lowell, can you start from here? This is you starting. This is.
I will draw anything or anyone in front of me. It doesn't matter what.
What inspired you to do on Hadassah?
Yes. What?
This is you start off with your very first one.
You know, Les is right. I didn't notice that. This one happens to be the emergency room at Hadassah because I was there in the summer. So I'm sitting waiting there. Some people knit. Some of us bite our nails. Some of us use rosaries or worry beads, depending, of course, on your religion. And some of us draw. So my habit is I take out a pen and my drawing pad and I draw. I was there, I drew. It just happens to be Hadassah. But since Les mentioned that, there is some thanks in order here and some dedications. That's background noise from me. There's a lot going on here at Beit Yehudi. The thanks, of course, to my wife and girls and etc. for encouraging me, which is true. Thanks due to our neighbor, Ora Lampart. Why don't you draw again? Thanks due to Yams Greenstein, who introduced me to Ben Simon. Thanks due to Ben Simon, who is a working artist, the curator here, who gave me these 3 shows. Thanks to Les Sperani, a lifelong artist who lives in New York, who's a friend of our mutual friend Larry Pfeffer. They're both Hungarian Jews, who took me in January 2012 to Pearl Paint, which no longer exists, to buy drawing pads and wrote a dedication, Lowell, fill it. And I did.
Oh, wonderful.
So thanks to them. Who are the dedications? Okay, in honor of my mother, Mrs. Sarah Gallen, who will be 89 going on 17 on March 28th. And in honor and memory of my father, Lieutenant Colonel Martin Gallen, NYU Law Review 1949, Captain World War II, European Theater, retired as a Lieutenant Colonel in the Army Reserves, who died, or his body died, 22 weeks ago on October 16, 2018. In honor and memory of Miss Henrietta Zold, Hadassah saved a family member, and the family member said to me, when I go home, please promise me you'll volunteer for Hadassah. Here's my volunteer card.
Oh, wonderful.
And this Thursday, I will be there 10 weeks. And what do? I'm a volunteer in the oncology clinic at the Charette Institute. They gave me a little white coat. I put it on. I was asked last Thursday, are you Dr. Cohen? No, I'm the volunteer. One of the nurses, they want to know if you're Dr. Rosenberg. No, I'm the volunteer. I looked at myself, and even the doctors say, you look more like a doctor than us. It's a modeling acting job, which I gladly do. If someone saved your daughter's life, so I'm consecrated to the service like a knight of the round table to the lady, Miss Henrietta Zold, for life. Therefore, I decided this exhibition is in honor and memory, in addition to my father, of Miss Henrietta Zold, who created one of Israel and the world's greatest institution, the International Hadassah Women's Zionist Organization, called Hadassah, named after Esther, because they had their first meeting on February. It was in 1912, right around the time of Purim, and so I dedicated that also in memory of her.
Wow, that's right. And you start off your exhibition with Hadassah
actually,
Emergency.
That's very interesting you mentioned it, because I didn't hang the exhibition.
Oh, that's interesting.
Ben Simon did. He chose where everything would go. And now I didn't pay attention to that till you mentioned it. What is this? This is a storefront of a pizza place in the Makolet in the Neve Paz neighborhood of Haifa, where Ethiopian and Russian Jews live, and where we had an apartment for several years. Wonderful people,
this is the market in Haifa.
And pizza, mea, whatever, I can't even remember.
Okay, and then it's very nice. And here we have
Yediot Achronot, they had a story on Prime Minister Netanyahu. I did that. This is from one of the papers too, a famous Israeli wrestler winning. That's the Star of David. He's winning the Krav.
I think this is the judo.
Yeah, that's it.
Actually,
I'm
the judo.
not up on all those things.
Wow, this is lovely.
This is from the Tikotan Museum of Japanese Art. Our friend Aura and Jack Lampart, they have an apartment in Haifa. They were there sometimes, and they had a poster, and I drew the poster.
It's really, really, really nice.
And someone who knows Japanese read this and said, I can actually read the letters. I just sort of monkey see, monkey do copy. What's this? In Haifa, you have a wonderful cafe where the whole theme is dogs. Dog dolls, dog paintings, dog, everything you can think of as dogs. So they have a lot of lamps hanging.
Dogs are welcome.
Dogs. Coffee, and the dogs are welcome, right. Yes, they love dogs. This is a street, it's a wonderful street in the middle of Haifa, a sort of Greenwich Village kind of street with a lot of cafes. I draw that. I better get my glasses now so see what looks at that. Yeah. Wait a minute. Right. One day I'll come to Les's office and I'll draw teeth or equipment. A W.C. Fields pulling out the tooth. What is this? This is Oti Machlu. Hi, Oti. He's a hairstylist. Masada Street, 34 Haifa. And this is his hair salon. I don't have much hair to cut, but what I got, he cut it. Whatever you got, as Margaret Thatcher said, her schoolmistress said, girls, remember, good quality cotton, not poor quality silk. Whatever you got to take care of it. So if we don't take care of and appreciate what we got, why should we get anything more?
So true.
What's this? Oh, what is it? Maccabee Lee. Yes, where Teddy Kollek Stadium is, where the mall is, or whatever that big place is, the shopping center. In there, Maccabee has an office. We were in the waiting room. Yes, this is Haifa. Down near the government offices, near the port, there is a new Chinese restaurant, Walktown. And I think I was the first customer. I walked in when the actual opening day was the first customer on the first day. And it's good. Kosher, too. Kosher. They had a Russian cook and a Mizrahi Jewish owner. But he was really good, and his Walktown cooking was great. This is the Efrat Bakery in Abu Ghosh. Yeah. The kibbutz, there's a kibbutz there, Kiryat Anavim, something like that, over there on the road to Tel Aviv. And they run a bakery, restaurant, so we were in there, that's a table. These are two people at the Solito Cafe in Bnei Brak. But the Bnei Brak, that's very close to Tel Aviv,
yeah.
Everything grew together. And they are ladies making girl talk. Carol Burnett's Girl Talk. I'm all in favor of it. What's this? Oh, what is it? Derech HaGeffen. It's also a Beit Cafe somewhere. I forgot.
Possibly a winery?
Maybe it is. It's a restaurant, Beit Cafe somewhere.
Very nice.
Is that in Beit Zayat? It may not even exist. I forgot already what it was. These are bottles of Engedi
water, yeah.
Schweppes soda, and a cell phone. This is Optical Center. Was I there? I saw a brochure. Eyeglasses. Optical Center.
Lovely.
Glasses. This is the Tea Pool Cafe in Haifa on Masada Street. There's a lot of cafes, very Greenwich Village-y-ish, and they have concerts. I drew some of the musical instruments. This is another cafe. I don't know if it's still there anymore, next to Oti Machluf's barbershop or hairstyling salon. And a man was sitting at the table. Bank Yerushalayim, right. Over on Karen Hayasud Street, as you come around the corner to go to the YMCA, there's a Makolet and a little restaurant. And I was sitting outside and I was looking across Derech Karen Hayasud to Bank Yerushalayim. I didn't have much time. That's all I got. So I got Bank Yerushalayim and someone parked their motorcycle and a shopping cart. So I don't care what it is, where it is, it's finished, it's not finished, just do it. That's a chair. Where is that? Oh, no. Oh, yes. Hello, Hadassah. Instagram senior style star Sipora Solomon. At Sipora Solomon, that's her Twitter account. On a bicycle, she's a New York institution, I've been told, red. And this is the July-August 2018 cover.
Lovely.
Hadassah magazine. Was it the cover or was it in there? Either way, it's in there.
It's really, really varied and very nice.
Here you look out towards a lot of light coming in from
This
both
is
sides.
MFM, yeah.
Out there is MFM. So we're in the German colony. These buildings, not this one, but you can see around us the historic buildings built by the Templar Germans who were here from 1860 until the war, and then they got deported and they didn't come back, and that was it. But they left us their amazing communities in Haifa and Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. There's a lot of stuff going on here, viewers and listeners. There's classes and mats for the children come in right after school. The little ones dressed like, Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan to do the all that. Then the older ones come later. We have a friend. Hello, Dov Kishinovsky. Lifelong family friend. When we moved here in 1992, we met the Kishinovskys. A dentist like Dr. Les Glassman.
He's actually a specialist, yeah.
What does he specialize in?
Maxillofacial.
What?
A maxillofacial specialist.
I don't even know what that is, but he knows. He's a specialist in teeth.
Takes out wisdom teeth and...
Here, you're listening to Pro. So Les is from South Africa, and Dov is from Denmark. He says, yes, it's really true in Copenhagen they have great ice cream. So he lent us a book. Did we return it yet? Oh, I'm going to have to return it. A book on the life of Victor Borgia, which is in Danish. Sorry, this is Danish. Forget, I don't even want to pronounce it with my New York accent. I'll destroy the language. This is Victor Borgia, and
it's very
see, there's so much interesting stuff to draw. I could actually draw all day and never get finished, even get started. This is May the Force Be With You, Master Yoda. And there's a certain family member who will never be forgiven for saying to me, what's the name of that little green creature? We don't call the head of the Jedi Order a little green creature. That is Master Yoda. Which I think may come from the Hebrew word Yodea, no, as in that the Jews are the Jedi. The Jews are meant to be the Jedi of the world fighting the Sith. Lightsabers, higher powers, and that's the way I think we're supposed to be.
Wow.
Here we are. This is from, I use as an office, the American Center, 19 Karen Hayasud Street. Meaning, where's my office? I'm a journalist. Wherever I plug in my computer is the office. I like to go to a nice place. The American Center, established 1966, I think, it's like going back to college. Les is an alumnus of Wits University.
Yeah.
I went to Swarthmore College in Philadelphia, and whenever I go to the American Center, I'm going back to school. And they have a wonderful library and study rooms, and I like to use the computers there like the Chevra.
That's very nice. It's very welcoming.
Oh, you've been there.
It's lovely.
They have, my recommendation to everybody, don't work at home. Home is home. You have a wife and kids. Work is work. Home is home. Make a mechitza. Work should not be done at home. I mean, everyone's different. That's my advice. That is, they have a lot of books. Abraham Lincoln, who said, how long should a man's legs be? Long enough to reach from his waist to the ground. He also said, a man who has is his own lawyer has a fool for a client. And I would say the same, a man who is his own dentist or accountant, whatever, has a fool for a patient. So that's Abraham Lincoln. This is Einstein. Now what's that? My Grandma Laura, my mother's mother, from Lemberg, which is now Lvov in the western Ukraine.
Wow, yeah.
It's still there. Just we're not there because of they wiped us out. Gave me in 1964 for my 8th birthday a picture book on Einstein. I still have it, and that's Einstein.
Wow.
This is, I don't know what it's from, but I know who it is. It's David Ben-Gurion, a booklet of Israeli something. Well, that's something. Okay. Our great leader who, I mean, whatever, you like him, you don't like him, he made it happen. We have a state. You don't like the state? At least you have a state not to like. He made it happen. So, here is the Dictionary of Cultural Literacy. We had a lot of books at home, so that was one of them. So I drew the book cover. I have actually hundreds and hundreds of drawings which I put so far on Facebook albums, and I'm now moving to a website called Show Your Arts. Anybody can use it, it's free. And each time I've had an exhibition, Ben Simon chooses different drawings. Very shortly we'll be joined by paintings Ben has chosen from our younger daughter, Batya Daniela Judith Gallen. She primarily paints. I draw pen and ink. What do you do? Now here's my recommendation. Ladies, we're in conference here. Whatever you are, whoever you are, best therapy forever. You don't have to be sick to be well. Drink lots of water, get a good night's sleep, draw, paint, sing, dance. You don't have to be Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire to dance. You don't have to be Ethel Merman to sing. Some people might not think that's a good example, but that's your problem. You don't have to be Rembrandt to paint.
So true.
Just get out of your head and do it. Best therapy for you don't have to be Bruce Jenner or was Bruce Jenner to run. Just get up and walk. Halacha means going, walking. We're built to move.
And Lowell, when you paint, when you draw, does it give you like a lot of satisfaction when you see the end product?
Actually,
is it very therapeutical as well?
He raised a very good point. Ben said, "Have you made any new drawings?" I said, "Yeah, they all stink." He said, "Let me see." So I sent him the new ones. He said, "I like them." I said, "As we all know, we cannot see ourselves as others see it, and that we may not see something in what we do that another person likes, or vice versa. We may think something that we do is God's gift to humanity, and someone say, well, you know, two Jews, three opinions. I don't exactly agree about that. For myself, when I draw, it's like I'm not thinking. It's like the pen is moving on the paper. It's knitting.
And it's therapeutical. You
yes. Anything physical that's not destructive or self-destructive is by definition, I would think, therapeutic. Even chewing gum. Chewing is good for you. Got a doctor here. It activates this, that. Breathing through your nose activates the center, which behind the nose, which releases human growth hormone or something. Anything physical, I would think, that's not destructive or self-destructive is by definition. It can't be. I can't say how it could be bad.
And how long does it take you to do like a drawing? Roughly, is there a time limit, or can you spend hours, days?
If there's a lot of detail in it, there's
like, let's go to the Japanese one here.
a few minutes.
I think this Japanese one
That has more detail. That would take.
It's incredible. It really is.
That
I
has
think
more
this is,
detail.
How long, roughly, do you remember, did this one take you to?
Half an hour.
Wow, and it's really, really nice.
That will
I mean, they're all nice, but this is exceptionally nice.
Getting the general outline of the form can take a minute or two.
Do you envisage and then you draw it, or you just draw it and then it
No, none of these are from my imagination. All of these are from a person, a painting, and a horse, a chair.
And do you have to be there in front of you, or can you see it and then go home and then draw the picture that you've seen?
Good question. I have never thought about that, and I've never tried it so far. I will draw what's in front of me. Could I draw from my mind?
From
Probably,
memory.
but I don't usually do it.
Okay, but you see like a lovely painting, or you're on a bus and you see this wonderful image. Could you go home and reproduce that wonderful image?
Probably, and you've given me a new assignment.
Okay, wonderful.
Ben said he likes the drawings that, I mean, you'll draw anything. The subject's
it's very varied.
anything. It can be
wonderful.
a shoelace. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be a wrapper for a chocolate bar.
But it's lovely. It's varied and it's exciting, and it just gives a whole spectrum of what's happening here in Israel. It's really, really nice.
I like to draw, and anyone out there, you want to invite me to have an exhibition, just don't ask me to pay for it. That's not done. Anywhere in the world, you have a subject you want me to draw that. That's another problem. There's so many things I never get started to do something because there's so many things to do. I don't know what to do first. So often people say, why don't you do this, or I happen to be there, and then that's why production charts are very good. Say, okay, today I will draw one picture. I don't care what it is, just cross it off. Because otherwise, should it be this one? Should it be that one?
You have to start.
And
You have
procrastination.
you have to make a.
You have to do the first tooth, right? You have to first
There has
root
to be
canal.
a
Pull the
starting
first
point.
tooth.
A starting point.
Just
but you
begin.
really, it's wonderful. Lowell, I cannot thank you enough. I think it's absolutely outstanding. It's so. You've given such a lovely broad spectrum of so many different topics. Everyone's varied.
I got to add something else. The way, also in quantum physics, we know that what does something look like when we're not looking at it? We don't know, because the moment the object has an observer, it changed its position. So we all are going on faith because we don't know what something looks like when we're not looking at it, aside from the question that other people see things different from us. So what I want to say about that, I was going to say something that was relevant to this, now it slipped from my mind. I forgot what it was. I'll remember it later. Oh, yeah, it's coming back about the drawings. So
Any projects for the future, maybe?
wait a minute, this was an important point to me. It was Ben said he would choose the drawings. Ah, yes. This time, in this particular exhibition, I've not been able to spend as much time here on the spot. You want to film the table? I usually will sit at the table, connect my computer, and just be here to talk to people when they come here. It was very interesting for me to see what did people say and how did they react to the drawings when they didn't know I was the artist. So they don't know I'm watching, they're speaking more freely.
We should have a comment book, actually.
Once I had that where they could sign up, I'm much easier as Les knows to promote other people's work than my own. It's really, that's for some people are very good self-promoters. For some reason I'm not. So I was able to see that the drawings had an effect on, I watched people talk to each other. I watched people, in some cases, like, go over they didn't usually touch the drawings, but they would like go over the outlines. I watched children with their parents. I watched people read aloud the text, and I listened to them talk about it. I heard one man from New York, I know his name, but I won't say it, said, oh my goodness, who is this artist? And it turned out to be a patron of the arts, someone with money. A rich guy from New York, I won't say his name, and then I said, well, that's me. But I heard what he said when he didn't know I was me, to his wife. So even though I look at my drawings, and they, I'm happy to do them, but they don't speak to me. I see that they make other people happy, and Ben said they make him happy. So I figure if I don't have a loss and you have a benefit, and it's my knitting or my rosaries, why not do them? Even though they don't, like you go to the coattails, oh, my drawings, I just draw. So I guess I like them, but they can't speak to me since I did them the way they'd speak to you.
And everyone can interpret in their own way.
That's what I saw. And
everyone finds something specific for their...
It seems to make them... There's art which can, there is art that can be destructive, that can make us feel bad. There is art that can make us feel good. And in my case, I found out that my drawings made people feel good or less bad. So, therefore, thinking like a logical Asperger of Vulcan Mr. Spock, which is logically, if you benefit and I don't lose, and I enjoy doing them like knitting, and I always like to be busy somewhere doing something, so why not draw?
Lowell, I just want to mention, for those people that do have autism, I think you are such a wonderful role model. You've given people such it's an inspiration to see what you've achieved and what people can achieve.
And I think
that's really, really, really wonderful that you've taken something and you've made it very positive, and it's very inspirational, and I think you are really an example that a lot of people can aspire to.
Here, we should all take our liabilities and turn them into assets. One of the most recent developments in the last 10 to 15 years is more and more people like Professor Tony Atwood in Australia, Dr. Temple Grandin in America, and Dr. Simon Baron Cohen. He's the cousin of Sacha Baron Cohen. They're cousins. It's a very creative family. Have realized that in the case of high-functioning autism, Asperger's, it's not a disability or a disorder, it's a profile. And that says, okay, look, everybody has a profile. Some people are good back office people, some people are good front office people, everyone's good at doing something. They say, what are your strengths, or what are your passions or obsessions, if you want to turn it into a volunteer activity or saleable skill. And let's say, someone can't sit, a kid, what do we say in the Talmud? If you're a bloodthirsty murderer, become a shochet.
Yeah, it's true.
Then say, pretend it's not true, or be nice.
Use it to your abilities, the best to your abilities.
Join the Army elite combat units. We are what you are. Some are tall, some are small, some are fat, some are thin, some speak well, some write well. Churchill, the King's speech, that was about the King. Churchill had stuttered. The King couldn't talk.
Yeah.
In the movie, which is a really good movie, the King says, is going to the studio to Churchill says, Your Majesty, I had to overcome a stutter. And the King says, I didn't know that. So Churchill worked and he was a very shy person and became, we will fight them on the beaches. Sure. You can see it on YouTube. Words people still,
sure.
I will regularly.
It's iconic. His words are iconic.
And he stuttered. Helen Keller was deaf, blind and dumb,
yeah.
But she somehow turned her, whatever package you've been given by the Creator, take it and turn what someone else may be as a liability into an asset. If you like to collect paper clips, well, or you're a video, whatever it is, there's a way to convert it into a practical, usable, and possibly saleable skill at any age.
Just on the paper clips, there was that very famous school in the States that they decided, in order for the kids to envisage what the ramifications of the Holocaust was, that they would collect 6 million paper clips.
Did they do it?
And they did it.
That's
and it's
amazing.
A project that they did of 6 million paper clips. So you mentioned paper clips. Even that, people would send in from all over the world their paper clips until they reached the number of 6 million. And that really put into perspective where you can see what one paper clip, and if you think of all the lives, but the kids could envisage, and it was a tremendous memory for the Shoah, and very educational. And you just mentioned how you can take something so mundane,
anything,
as a little paper clip, but you can make it so profane.
Anything.
It's so incredible. It can become so amazing.
Here. Dr. Glassman's family is from Kovno, Lithuania.
Mariupol, south of Kovno.
But Lithuania.
Sure.
It's not Latvia or Estonia.
No,
Lithuania.
My wife's from Latvia, but we're from Lithuania.
Many of Dr. Glassman's interviews and features deal with the Holocaust and also honor the Japanese hero Senpo Sugihara, who I found out from Les is considered one of the 10 immortals in Japan. He became superstar status in Japanese culture, and Japanese come from all over the world to honor him. There is no such thing as a useless person. There's no such thing as useless object. We simply often have to see what we're looking at in a different way and say, how can I turn that into something positive? So, for example, if a kid can't sit still in class, like in Israel, we have a terrible problem. I think the view is changing. The kids are put in Ritalin. Don't take the Ritalin. These are dangerous drugs. If a kid sits still, give them a basketball and say, bounce that ball of 3. If they can't sit still, don't make them sit still. This is also the issue of study in the Torah world. Most people are not, including myself, are not like the Vilna Gaon, who's another Lithuania, Vilna.
From Vilna.
He could study 23 hours a day. Maybe he slept for 20 minutes and he had a little bit to eat to sleep. If not everyone is suitable to be a full-time graduate student, general studies, quote-unquote, secular rabbinic. And if you're not suited, you have to know what's the ophi of the person. If you can't sit still, say fine. So take their bounciness and get them to bounce. Or, if someone's a bookworm, don't make them be on the soccer team.
That's so true. Well, thank you so much, and we really appreciate it. And may you go from strength to strength, and we look forward to your next exhibition and your next portfolio of amazing artwork.
So thank you, Dr. Glassman, it was your idea at our program last Thursday on International Pi Day, which was Larry's idea, to do this feature interview. And thank your viewers and listeners. And I want you all to go out, take a big pen, a piece of paper, and draw. You'll feel better or you'll feel less horrible. Do something. Draw.
Thank you so much.